Hi everybody, this is Julie from A Loving Christ. In this video today I'm going to show you how to create inspiring printables in Google Drawings. Now Google Drawings comes free with your Google account, so if you have a Gmail account or if you use Google Drive, you have access to this wonderful app. I'm going to show you today how to make this printable, but you of course will be able to create anything at all that you can imagine. I'm going to switch right over here to my Google Drive. You're just going to go to this blue button that says New. Then you'll go to More, and you'll see Google Drawings right over here. So you'll click that, and then you'll have your blank canvas, and you will be ready to get started. I want to show you just a couple of things. First of all, I do have a menu bar across the top, and I also have my toolbars right here. Now depending on what I need, I can just click and find and work with these tools. It's really very convenient. I'm going to go ahead and put a title in, and I will just name this Google Drawings Tutorial and hit enter. Now remember, Google saves as you go, and you can take a look right at this little message to make sure that everything is saved and up to date. Now the first thing I want to show you is how to insert your text. You have a little text box right here, so you can click on that. I could also go over here to Insert and Text Box. Either one works just fine. When I click that text box, then I'll go ahead and draw the box, and believe you can. So I'll go ahead and write that in, and then notice my box is huge, and I do want to make my words bigger. When I select the words by clicking and dragging over them, I can go in here now and format my font, and this is where it gets really fun, and you may want to experiment with this just a little bit. Now when I made my quote, I used two different fonts, and I tried to use fonts that were compatible, and I am not a graphic designer, and so I wasn't quite sure what fonts were technically okay to use together or not. And I found a really neat site called Font Pair that I went to, and it gives suggestions on what fonts go together, and I have a link to that site in the blog post for this tutorial, so you can look there if you need some help with font pairings. Now what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead, and I used a font called Lobster. Now one of the things that I want to show you here is as I click on my font choices, I have a long list and I can scroll down and find more, but you can even go to more fonts and get just so many free fonts from Google. It's so nice. That's actually where I got the two fonts that I'm going to be using for this tutorial. I'm going to go ahead and choose Lobster, and now I want to play around with my sizing. So you will want to do the same. Just play around with it, see what you can fit in there, and go ahead and choose a size that works best for what you want. Now, I also, within my text box, I can drag it around the page, so you would be able to put that wherever you want. You can also go up to Arrange if you wanted to make sure that it was exactly in the center. You could choose Center on Page horizontally and vertically, and you get it right smack dab in the middle, so that's a really nice feature as well. Now I'm actually going to drag mine over to the side just a little bit, play around with that some. Okay, now I want to do the second part of my quote, and you're halfway there, and I'm going to do that in a different font. First I need to go back in here and add my comma, and I'll stretch that out just a little bit. That comma made it a little too long. There we go. So now I'll just go back and grab a text box again, and I'll drag my text box, and you're halfway there. Now one of the things that Google will do is capitalize the first letter of that line, and I don't actually want that capitalized, so I could just go in and select that and change that to a smaller A. Now the font pairing that I'm going to use is a font called Cabin, so I also got that under the More Fonts, and so I'll click on Cabin. And now I want to play around again with my sizing. I'll just go really big. I think that's going to be too big, even if I stretch it out. So I'll go down to 72 and stretch a little more. Okay, that's even still too big. This is where a lot of what you do will be trial and error, so just play around with it and see what works best for your purposes. And you can work with that and line it up. See how I just click on the text that I want to work with, and I'm able to go ahead then and move it around and play around with it. Now I also want to attribute my quote because I didn't actually come up with this, and I will use lobster and type in the attribute. Let's see, I need to make that a little bigger because it's not quite big enough to see. And I will drag that right over here. Okay, now once you get your words in there the way you want them, you can also add images, graphics, shapes, you can decorate, you can do all kinds of things. Now I'm just going to put in a simple star, so let me just show you how to do that, and I'll show you a few other things as well. If you had some images on your computer that you wanted to use, you could either choose this image button, or you could go to Insert Image, and you would be able to bring in a picture from your Google Drive. You could search on Google Images, but be careful about copyright with that. You could upload images from your computer. So you have many options. You can also decorate, and I'm going to do that with shapes. Now you also have a choice here where you can put in lines, arrows, connectors, curves. Scribble is kind of a free form, so you can draw the shapes that you want. So play around with that as well. I'm going to go into my shapes, and I'm going to go down to callouts, and I'm just going to choose this star. But take time to look through and see everything that's available. It's really nice how much they have. So I'll click this star. Once you click the shape you want, then you're just going to go ahead and drag the shape. Once you put it in, you can resize with these little handles. You can kind of drag it around. Another thing that I like to do is rotate it just a little bit. To rotate it, you take this little circle and just turn it whichever direction you want. And now I also want to change the color. And if you'll notice, when I have the shape selected, then I have excuse me, I have a choice here, a bucket, where I can click the fill color. That's the inside, and I'd like to use the specific color for my brand. So if I click on that custom color, I actually know the hex code for my brand color. So I'm going to do that and click OK. And then I also want to change the outside line because notice that it's a different color. So I'll do that right here with the line color option. And notice that since I already made my custom color, I can just choose that right there. Okay, so that is very handy. And then, of course, the star is blocking out my quote. And so that's a really easy fix. What I want to do is put that star behind my letters. And so what I'll do is I'll click on it, and if I right click, I can go to Order and Send to Back, which I'll do that in just a second, but I want to show you that you can also go to to Arrange and Order and Send to Back. It's the same thing either way, and when I send it to back, it puts it behind the text. I am still able to grab a hold of it and move it around, which is really nice. And so that's how you can put in shapes and images and get the text to go on top. Now, the last thing that you want to do is even though Google will save as you go, it's saving still as a Google drawing. And to offer this as a printable, you're going to want to go ahead and save it as a PDF. And Google makes that very easy. What you need to do when you have your printable exactly like you want it is you just click on File, and you just come right down here, Download As, and you choose PDF Document. So I will click that, and you'll notice down here at the bottom that it has saved to my computer as a PDF, and that's it. I would then upload that PDF to my media folder in my WordPress blog, and then I would share that link to my readers so that they could download this printable. And that's actually what I'm going to do. If you'll look back into the post for this tutorial, I have a link to this particular printable for you. So all you have to do is click on it, and it will open up your PDF, and you can save it or print it and hang it up. And just remember, if you believe you can, then you're halfway there to accomplishing your goals. I hope that you've learned something new from this. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much.